So Adriaan, how was your day?
The day is always amazing if you have some chocolates. We got this from a client that was very impressed with our production.
They were very, very impressed with the production. Welcome back to Filmworx. Fantastic. One of the biggest questions we always get from new clients specifically that's not used to working with a video production company is, how do we work with a video production? What does things cost? How does it work? And just the flow of things. Today I'm joined with our head of production, Adriaan Anderson.
Good afternoon, Jacobus.
Lekker. And we just want to run you by more or less the motions to expect when you work with video or film production companies. Now, one of the first aspects that we normally look at is, what is the action of your viewer that you expect when they watch your video? What do you think, Adriaan, is the action is that outcome that we know that the client normally expects?
So the thing is, you want to know your audience very well. Who is this video going out to? So, and do you want them to buy something when they see it? Do you want them to feel inspired? What's the action that you are really looking for after your client or the people that you're targeting this video to? What do you want them to feel, and what do you want them to do after they've seen your video? So that's really important, and like I said, you need to know your audience pretty well, and that will only help us to target the video so much better. And from the get-go, from pre-production, we know what the aim is of this video.
You're absolutely right. So how I normally see it is there's specific quantifications of the audience. It could be anything from what is the age, what is the action, do you need to sell something, as you said? Or is it just a training video? How do you position something for someone to learn and understand eventually to be able to take actions on what they've learned? So this is just by crafting it in the way that you present this video for that person to take action. But one of the things that I realize is there is, apart from the audience, it's also the place or the platform where they consume the content, right? So that will determine everything. Listen, everything we talk about now is even before we pick up a camera. This is all in the planning phase. So run me by, there's some various platforms that we love to use: YouTube, LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Run me by some of these platforms and the requirements of each.
Okay, so for each platform, you need to consider a few things. That's the orientation, because these days we have a lot of short form, and that's really a big thing. And with short form, it's going to be vertical video. And that, from the get-go, that influences your whole production. How we're going to shoot the video, how we're going to frame it, that's very important. Then, also, certain platforms have a maximum size that your video can be as well. So that's something to consider as well. And then also the length of the video. So if, say for instance, you want to post this video on TikTok, it's very important to keep it less than a minute to really grab the attention of the viewer. So these are all the type of things you need to consider when it comes to the platform you are going to be posting on. Even when it comes to the export of the video, certain platforms have certain settings that you need to export at. And what does it help if you have this beautiful video, very nice production, but where it's posted, it doesn't look nice?
Exactly. And one of the, for TikTok and Instagram Reels, we will literally turn the camera on its side to film.
Yes.
And then you get the other side, like exactly this platform, which is the podcast, which you probably consume on YouTube or audio-based platforms like Spotify or Apple Play.
Apple Podcast.
Apple Podcast.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. And then you get a podcast like this, which you most probably consume on YouTube or any other podcast platform like Spotify. However, for shorts, we normally work really hard to build a quick one-liner. We call it a hook, which is something that just stops the thumb from scrolling right next to the next TikTok. And so this is so vital. It's almost a half a second of something that needs to stop you and let you watch the rest. And this is specifically designed for mobile content. However, more and more we see that even YouTube is consumed on large smart TVs. And so you have to design those type of content videos for longer formats. Even in the start, building a small trailer of what people can expect, similar to a movie. But I want to talk about the movie concept, because any good movie has a movie poster, right? But what do you think is the one thing that makes you decide what to watch next on YouTube?
Well, obviously that is going to be the thumbnail, Jacobus, and it's something that people neglect to think about. You think, this is a video, we only need visual content, no photos. So we make a point out of it to really take a few photos on set, because we know at the end of the day that's going to be crucial in creating a thumbnail. And like you said, that is the one thing that makes you click. It's the first representation of your content. So you might as well make it a great representation and have a lot of key information. It's almost the hook before the hook.
I mean, you talked about information beyond the thumbnail. Run us through some of the content. So this can be anything from hashtags, right?
Yeah.
But run us more or less, what, in your experience, what are those additional pieces of content that you need to optimize your video with to get the widest reach?
So if we're looking specifically at YouTube, because we said you need to be platform specific. So if you're looking at YouTube, you want to have a description that's at least 500 words or more. And this description must also have some of your keywords in. And then you get to keywords, which is almost like your hashtags in YouTube. And you need at least 30 to 40 decent keywords. Obviously, this seems like a daunting task. This is a whole job on its own. And it sometimes feels irrelevant, but it's amazing to get the algorithm on your side. And what we've been using these days for that is ChatGPT. Or there are so many AIs at the moment. You don't have an excuse to not have a decent description and a lot of keywords to really help the algorithm pick up your videos and put it in the correct niche and the correct playlists.
On that, now you can hear we already talking about posting, so it sounds like we jeopardized the entire production phase. However, we are thinking about with the end in mind when we start planning your content. And so now jumping into the actual content. So let's say we've talked about who the audience is, what platform it will go on. Now finally we get to how we will create this. And this is finally where we get to the budgeting stage, or the quote that you are requesting. And so it's not counted per second. It's counted in terms of labor, in terms of rental cost for gear, in terms of getting props, getting cast members, getting presenters, getting a studio maybe. So all these components tally the unique budget that goes into that specific production. And that's why it's unfortunately one of those cases where it's how long is a piece of string? And it is very production specific. And that also determines what type of talent we get on set on the day and the complexities in terms of post-production. So we will always try to give you the most bang for buck in terms of making sure that when we have all those creative assets, we can maybe repurpose them for different pieces of content for later use.
Later on, yeah.
However, that is not the core purpose of that content. The core purpose is the planned production, and the spin-offs out of that are maybe cutaways that we could use at a later stage.
Yes, that is such an important thing, especially if you look at it from post-production. This includes voiceovers as well. Are we going to use stock footage? Where are we going to source the music from? These are all the type of things that you need to keep in mind, because it plays such an important role at the end of your production, especially if we look at music. That really carries the mood and the feel of your production.
And even final mix with there's sound effects coming in. Now, it does sound a lot, and it feels overwhelming, but that's why we're here. That's we love the stuff. But although it might also sound expensive, take into account as to why this production is being made. This production is being made to grow you in your journey, to be an asset. Now, an asset is something that brings you in more money. So whether in your marketing sector, whether it's in your training, the content is actually either saving you time or bringing in more clients. And that really is the core purpose of why you are creating that. So the audience that we've spoken about right at the start is that people that we want through your door. And that's why we're creating this.
Yes, no, you are spot on with that. And that's why having a good brief, having a good understanding of the production, even before, like you said, you pick up a camera, is so crucial in getting the end result that the client wants. Like you said, if you want to teach the rest of your team, that's time saving right there. If you want to show your clients the feel of your business, your culture, to get them interested in you as well, that is so important. And that's why a brief at the start of this entire process is maybe one of the most important aspects.
Now we have a saying, come to our studio, let's clap a coffee, and let's talk about that next production. That's me, Jacobus and Adriaan, just here on Filmworx Fantastic. See you on the next one.